All right, we are back with another War of Rights map briefing. I'm gonna try to make this one brief. It's Cooke's Countercharge. It is a map I don't like. I know, and yet it's one that I frequently find myself playing. So, whatever. But I don't really enjoy it as either side because it always feels like the ending is kind of known, right, even before the fight happens. It's kind of one of those things that almost no matter what you do right or wrong, we all know how the story ends. So, anyways, this is Countercharge. It's not a very large feature of this map, but there it is. Oh, you see the burning Muma farm. So this is around CSA spawn. So Cooke's Countercharge is a CSA attacking map. It is one that is nominally a defender arty advantaged map, but in the end it's closer to a fair or almost non-existent arty map because it's kind of like Anderson's, although I think this one's actually a little bit worse than Anderson's counterattack in terms of the arty placement. But the Union arty, you can see the battery in front of us, it's placed out in front of the point of contention and of where the Union spawn, and it's very easy for the CSA to run up on it and slaughter whoever's in the crew. The battery that's over there is not functional. The CSA don't get any arty guys, so there's no Grand Theft arty or anything like that. But I think one of the things, well, anyways, we're gonna talk about the map, and maybe I'll blabber some more later. Anyways, so what the CSA frequently does, there is a right push, there is a left push, and there is a center push, just like every other map. But a frequent one on the right side push for the CSA, yeah, you actually do get into the corn. It fools no one because there is a little hill at the end of this corn and flags stick up above. But anyways, the CSA get in here because it masks the movement of most of their troops, moving, and because of the way the map boundary works, the CSA can actually move really wide and get very, very close. I think they're out of bounds. Yeah, I don't actually trust. Okay, I trust that. Yeah, you're actually out of bounds if you get in the trees, but that's how you know that's the edge of the map. And they can show up anywhere along this fence, including that fence, and they can pretty much shoot you from spawn, and Union arty will barely have had time to maybe load canister, maybe get a gun turned, or something like that. And then they're just getting shot. They're dying in skirmishing. They're dying in out of line. The Union can try to come up and salvage that position. For right now, what sometimes happens in organized play where the arty can move early, sometimes we'll try to get these back, but even with a several minute advantage, we usually can't get the guns back any further than this before the CSA runs up on them. But if you can sneak a gun or two back, that is something the Union might want to think about. One thing I'm wondering is if you take the 12-pounder and you just roll it back maybe over here to get it away from the corn, and to make it easier for friendlies to stack up on the fence behind you. This might be something that you can shoot into CSA spawn. It might be something I'll work on. But anyways, let's try to stick to the map. Anyways, this cornfield is a fairly big deal because this directly links to probably the most dominant position on this map, which is relatively open. And so when it's relatively open, again, there are a few pieces of terrain you need to know, but there's this bowl here, and it's largely this bowl. You'll know you're on point because you'll hit T. It says capturing or it says defending. You'll know it, but holding this little bit of high ground here for either side gives them a height advantage, which can help with sight lines. It can help, I don't know, I guess it's probably a little bit easier to shoot down on things than up on things, but it is nice. And really why the CSA wants it and why the Union might want to deny it is because the hill itself is hardcover. And so the CSA can come up, they can shoot, they can pull back down if they want, and it puts them right on the doorstep of CAP. Up. All right, so since we're on the CSA right side, we'll just there. The hay bales are in play. And the hay bales function largely as hard cover in this game. And so the Union will frequently hold those at the beginning. The CSA may try to organize a push. You'll see they have to come through the open in order to do that. The Union then has the option, if they choose to, yeah, this is in bounds. And so this is sometimes the Stonewall Fort. I understand why, right? So if you're in as the Union, you got to do it. You can pull back there. It's not really close to anything that matters, right? The point of contention is way back there. But if you're just trying to full-on preserve tickets and force an early cap, that is something that the Union can do, and it can be a real challenge to do anything about with this as the CSA, because you're going to run the risk of, I believe you are timing out before you get this. I think as the CSA you can get into this road, but I think you start timing out on the reverse of it in the field. I know as the CSA we can sometimes hop up and over here and melee a group in the rocks here, but I think we're timing out while we do it. So that is the kind of depths of the right side push from the CSA. The left side push brings us much closer to the Countercharge. So from CSA spawn, it's over here. This is the mound, by the way, in the Countercharge map. So this is using the mound to the CSA's advantage. They'll come over here. Sometimes they'll pop up and they'll shoot the Union who are back there defending. Other times they'll just go up and over. You want to get in the snake fence usually, because the snake fence is going to offer your guys some concealment and really some cover as they advance up the fence. We'll see the terrain better if we are closer to man-size height, but this little defilade back here is something the Union can hide in and try to challenge, and so is the CSA. They may well push up to here. This way they're in the defilade and they can see back. Union spawn is right down that road, so it's back there, I don't know, 250 yards or so, not far away at all. This is the left side push. The CSA can push all the way up this fence. The boundary, by the way, is not that far out here, and so it's almost this, but you can go a little bit further. Sometimes folks use those trees for reasons I don't know. I thought these rocks, well, I guess they're not in bounds. All right, that's fine. You're pushing up the road. You can push as the CSA without timing out, I believe, to right about here, and Union spawn is no joke. Right there, and so you can get them as the Union on this map. Oh, let's see if I can do it. This actually is a defilade, particularly if you kneel. You should be just about completely covered until the CSA comes up here. You also have the fences that are back here. It's on relatively high ground, and so if you're on the back side of this fence and you're able to shoot through the fence that's in front of you, that's pretty darn close to feeling like hard cover. These rocks back here, there's really not that much to them, but they are there. CSA, again, they can go all the way back here. They can wipe everything that's in this road. I think the Stonewall area there is going to be out of bounds for them. Key defilade for the Union, if they're not able to hold further forward, is to hold back here, and then if the CSA races to cap, they can push up to there. Over here, I believe that's the cap. I think that bush caps. This is a rock formation in a set of trees. Again, controlling it is nice. You can force others to have to pay something of a toll. It has good shots into point, but it's certainly vulnerable to an attack from the backside because you don't have the hard cover that faces out that way. So that is that. Frequently on this map, the Union defenders are at such a tickets disadvantage. I don't think I've ever seen them win this map on relatively. I mean, if there's a gross imbalance in talent, all right, well that's easy. But I think cap recap usually has to be the way that the defenders make up for this. So they fall behind in tickets, then they full on pull back. And I find that generally as the server size reaches its max, particularly now that its regular max is 300, if you get close to 150 defenders, and they're all somewhat coordinated, they might be playing the backline fence over there, they might be playing the hay bale, the defilades. They can certainly make the CSA pay more tickets than the CSA is willing to in order to come back and to get them. And so what the CSA has to do, even if they're up in tickets, is to cap early before time runs out. And that means then the Union gets to effectively play with the CSA's tickets as long as the CSA is at a higher ticket level. And what the Union will do is they will look to force the CSA to disperse and then defeat them in detail. It's not new. I think I try to mention this in almost every episode. There aren't that many points that support the point of contention. Again, this hill here right outside the corn, and so the corn by extension, is one of the points that bears on who captures the point. This set of rocks here does, as well as this backside Union defilade I showed you a little bit earlier. But other than those features, those really are it. So as the CSA, if you're in a position where The Union, has to come to you, either because you've capped early and they have to counterattack because they're running low on the yellow timer. So that's the black timer, right? That's the enemy of the attacker, but the yellow timer is the enemy of the defender. Then the CSA needs to get together and figure out what 1 or 2 points can you hold together. If you have like 2 companies there and the Union throws 4 companies at them, those 2 companies know that they need to run. And flags are a big deal in this map. It's a fairly long run for the CSA from spawn back to point. Not the longest, but it's long. Not so for the Union, but the Union still wants their flags so that they're spawning people as they move. For the Union, or for the CSA, I'm sorry, flags back here are certainly fine as long as you can see what's going on behind you. You don't want to be losing flags in positions where it's difficult to recover them. Losing them in the corn is not so bad because you need to send Rambos in to get them, and it's a little bit hard for the rank and file Union defenders to shoot you down. But you want to try to control this hill and get tight, and the Union wants to generally defeat you in detail, and then once you're wiped, once they knock down the CSA companies like dominoes one at a time, then they can go back, recap the point, and then they're back at the ticket level or the ticket stage that the CSA attackers have. So that's the kind of cat and mouse of Cooks. I think on pub matches, it tends to be too much to ask defenders to have patience. Why they're out of lines on this map, I've said that in many of my recent map briefings. I have no idea, but like out of lines, particularly as defenders on this one, I don't know, unless it's the corn. Oh, so a big ticket dump for the Union defenders is that they have people who will continually try to play arty. They're either new or they're trolling. I don't know what it is, but even spawning the Union arty officer here because you want a 6-shooter, it's not that clever when there are a couple of CSA skirmishers here who see you spawn in and they shoot you before you get to kill anybody. It's just a ticket dump. But now I'm starting to get off on other things. So I'm going to wrap up this map briefing here. It's a commonly played map, even in organized play, for reasons I don't understand. It's not the most well balanced. It is one where the defenders have some opportunity to win this, particularly if they use those pointy sticks they're holding to shoot the bullets that apparently they contain. The defenders can do quite well, and if they can force the attackers to disperse and defeat them in detail, the defenders have a chance. But it's a tough one.